All right, we're ready. Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to Grand Blanc Township Board Meeting for Thursday, April 20th at 5:30 PM. If we could all rise for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Robertson, can you call the roll?
I would be happy to, Mr. Supervisor. Trustee Hugo?
Here.
Trustee Fike?
Here.
Trustee Raritan?
Present.
Trustee White?
Here.
Treasurer Kilmer?
Here.
I'm here, of course. Supervisor Bennett?
Yes,
7 members present, a quorum.
thank you. Before we move to approve the agenda, I would like to ask your permission to add a privileged presentation by Commissioner Dr. Beverly Brown in place of recognition on number 5. We're not going to be recognizing, I think there was a holdover from the previous agenda, but if we could put Dr. Brown in that spot, and she wanted to address the board.
Okay.
So, okay, with that change, motion by Dr. Raritan, support by Ms. Hugo.
Okay. Motion by Raritan, supported by Hugo. Trustee Raritan?
Yes.
Trustee Hugo?
Yes.
Trustee White?
Yes.
Trustee Fike?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Treasurer Kilmer?
Yes.
Supervisor Bennett?
Yes,
7, 7-0, motion passes.
okay. And now we will open the microphone for public comment, and we did receive a public comment card from Mr. Smith that would like to address them. I'm sorry, Mr. Scott, that would like to, not a problem, that would like to address the board. Please come forward. We just ask you to keep it 3 minutes or less.
Right. There's 2 issues I guess I wanted to address.
Sure.
My wife and I lived in Grand Blanc quite a while. We sold our condo. We didn't want to mess with homes anymore, so we moved into the Grand on Grand Blanc Road. We've been there about 6 years. We moved into the last new building. And the issue that I wanted to address today, I guess 2 of them, but the traffic. We can't get out of a complex half the time. My wife will never turn left. She always turns right. There's 3 complexes within a quarter mile of each other, as I'm sure you know.
On what road, I'm sorry?
Grand Blanc Road.
Right on Grand Blanc, okay,
There's 3 apartment complexes.
Right.
Well, one being built now.
yes,
The same guy that owned the Grand now is building another one.
right,
The traffic is just horrendous. Somebody's going to get killed. I personally believe that the complexes, if they want to be there, they need to pay for red lights to be installed so the residents can get in and out. The second issue that I wanted to address was, we lived there, I don't know, about a year. It was a brand-new apartment, a lower floor, and we had a sewer backup in our laundry room. It was sewer. That's all I can explain. They took care of it. Recently, we've had another problem with it. So I'm a little bit leery with all the complexes, apartment complexes on there, that the sewer system can handle all that. That's my speech.
okay. On the road issue, we will refer that to the road commission, and they are making it 3 lanes, the entire length pretty much of Grand Blanc Road, I believe this summer.
I heard that, I just think that's
Left turn
make it
lane,
worse.
but we'll ask them, the traffic count obviously is gonna go up with that additional building.
There you go. And the farthest one that's being built now is close to Fenton Road.
Right,
And that traffic's already backing up past the complex, that light there. So it's just gonna get worse, and somebody's gonna get killed.
okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you. Dennis?
As far as the sewer backup,
Right.
That is the project that the board approved last year, where we're going to do that. We're right sizing that sewer down to Fenton Road from in front of, so where those new buildings, where RJ's building those new buildings, that is a whole new right size sewers, increasing that sewer line all the way down to Fenton Road, if you recall.
Yep.
It's where we got the easements to go through the property from
Right.
across, so.
I wonder, I thought that might be.
That is the sewer issue is being addressed.
Okay, all right. Very good. And we'll talk to Mr. Sears, maybe we can talk to the road commission on. if they've done a study on that road lately in terms of any more lights or the timing. But it probably will be getting much travel. Okay, with that, we'll close public comment, and we'll invite Dr. Beverly Brown, our newest commissioner, to be appointed to represent a part of our area. Welcome.
Thank you.
Dennis and I have had a couple of meetings with Dr. Brown, and really enjoyed meeting and talking about the issues that face Grand Blanc Township and the county, so we're glad to have you here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here, and I look forward to working with you and all the other folks here in Grand Blanc Township. And thank you for adding me to the agenda tonight at the last minute. Just a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Detroit, but I've lived in Flint for almost 40 years. Came here to work for a bank, Detroit Northern Savings Bank, if you remember that. And I was a bank vice president downtown in charge of community reinvestment. And after that, I got into education and worked for the Michigan Department of Education in Lansing and commuted there for about eight or 9 years, and also spent some time working at colleges and lots of nonprofit work in the area. So this is my very first time in politics, going from a banker to an educator and now a public servant. So I'm happy to do this. I retired in 2021, and so this is now my full-time focus. So I'm happy to be here. I also wanted to bring to your attention that April is National County Government Month. Did anybody know that? I didn't know that until I got into this job. Who knew there was a thing? But anyway, I wanted to try to give you a few highlights about what Genesee County is doing in terms of programs and just raising public awareness around what Genesee County does. Because you may know a lot of this stuff, but it was brand new to me because I'm new. But I'm going to share these points with you in the context of an acronym, RISE. R is for resiliency, inclusion, solvency, and then empowerment. So you're all here tonight. That means one thing to me. At least I know for sure that you all survived COVID. We are a resilient community. And to date, the Genesee County Health Department has administered over 85,000 doses of vaccine to county residents and continues to offer the vaccine to those people who are interested. Our website, GeneseeCountyMI.gov, provides weekly updates of locations for vaccination clinics. The Genesee County Land Bank will be starting and has started demolitions across the county as a part of a $45 million demolition partnership. You may have seen the press conference last week where one house was demolished last Thursday. This project is a collaboration between Genesee County, City of Flint, the C.S. Mott Foundation, and the state of Michigan. They will all join together to address blighted properties that are owned by the Genesee County Land Bank. It's anticipated that 2,500 properties will be demolished as part of the program. This demolition program will be coupled with other cleanup efforts by the Land Bank. 66 community-based groups will complete more than 25,000 vacant property mowings and cleanups. Last year, these community groups cleared 155 tons of garbage from vacant lots and loaded them away in Land Bank dumpsters. So we are indeed a resilient community. As far as inclusion, the Genesee County Board of Commissioners facilitated meetings with representatives of the deaf community in a way to assess how we could better serve and collaborate with the deaf community. For example, just this month, we allocated money to hire interpreters who are now available to sign during our commission meetings. One of the things we learned from talking with them is that deaf people can read closed captioning, but they can understand much better if you have an interpreter at a meeting. So we wanted to engage them a little bit more. This will allow the deaf community to better understand what's going on with our county commission sessions, and just beyond looking at an agenda. Members of our board also surveyed township supervisors about what they wanted to see in the appointment of new members to the Genesee County Road Commission. We understand that their voices should be included as a part of the decision-making process. Townships are more directly impacted by the work that the Genesee County Road Commission does, so it was only right that we consulted with our supervisors during this process. At the same time, we made history by appointing 2 African Americans to the Genesee County Road Commission last month. We are striving to be more inclusive. In terms of solvency, Counties have two major responsibilities. The first is to administer services as an arm of the state. Examples include maintaining circuit and district courts, upholding state criminal laws through our prosecutor's office, maintaining a county jail through the sheriff's department, administering elections through our clerk's office, securing county funds through our treasurer's office, filing land records through our register of deeds office, and working with our drain commissioner on water supply and wastewater collection and treatment. Secondly, Genesee County operates as a local government. Services through our health department, senior services, veteran service, and animal control are just a few examples of those services. All of these items are provided for in the budget that is developed and adopted by the county commissioners. Our budget, just like yours, is a statement of our values. As the fifth largest county in Michigan, our total budget exceeds $300 million, with a general fund of $113 million. This year, our budget will be enhanced with two different funding sources. We did receive $1.5 million in opioid settlement funding, which will be used to fight that epidemic. And the marijuana tax has been increasing from $280,000 in 2021 to $1.4 million for 2023. These funds complement our existing ARPA funds of more than $78 million, all of which has to be allocated by the end of 2024 and then spent by the end of 2026. Our board is focused on ensuring continued financial responsibility while delivering services that our residents deserve. This is no easy task, but my colleagues and I are up for the challenge. Finally, empowerment. Many people don't know that well over 50% of domestic litigants in Genesee County are self-represented. In fact, there is only one legal aid attorney for every 5,401 eligible Michiganders. Genesee County has a law library paralegal who is primarily used as a resource within the county law library located on the second floor of the courthouse. Whether it is, I didn't know that, so I wanted to let you guys know that too. Whether it is needing help with the name changes, finding forms, or guidance on domestic issues, this is one way we seek to empower residents who want to self-represent during legal proceedings. In cooperation with Genesee County Circuit Court, the Board of Commissioners are working to enhance this service for residents that are representing themselves. These enhancements will include partnerships with the Legal Services of Eastern Michigan, the Genesee County Bar Association, and expanded space for residents within the new law library space at the Genesee County Courthouse. These efforts will help provide better outcomes for those who find themselves engaged with the court system. So let's celebrate National County Government Month this April. Resilience, inclusion, solvency, and empowerment are a few things that help make Genesee County a nice place to live. Thank you very much. And I also want to mention that yesterday I was at the Senior Service Center and met Misty, and I was just super impressed by all the activities that were going on at the Senior Service Center. The thing that impressed me and stood out to me most was a man who was 100 years old who came through the front door, and he drove there by himself, by the way. And he scanned his card and went in and just started to engage. And I thought to myself, I want to be like that if I'm blessed enough to get that to that age. So again, if you need anything, I've been working with Scott, as you have heard, and he has my card and contact information, as well as Dennis. And so if you need anything or have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And I also want to mention to you that the Genesee County Road Commission is really responsive. And so, but I'm sure your folks here can take care of, they will address your concern. So thank you.
Thanks, Doctor. Mr. Feig? Doctor, would you have just a few moments for a question or two?
I just want to, first of all, commend you and the board for adding interpreters to your meetings. As a member and a worker at the Disability Network, that's something that we like to highlight and strive, and we're in touch with the deaf community. So thank you very much for doing that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I'll get your contact information, but I did want to say, maybe ask you while you were there. You're in the process of moving to a building downtown. Can you give us a status report on how that's going and when you might be in there?
Sure. We were just informed last night, in fact, that we have received 2 bids from 2 different construction companies that we will be reviewing for further development of that property. And so I believe the goal to get inside the building is, the initial goal was December of 2024, but I honestly think it's going to be sometime the mid 2025 for us to make that relocation, which will, by the way, save the county money because we'll be consolidating a lot of our offices and services into that single building.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What other questions can I answer?
I thought you had one on emergency preparedness.
Well, yeah, on another note, I'm, as I mentioned, working at the Disability Network, and I'm trying to do a story. I do stories for them.
You're my favorite journalist.
I used to do that in a past life. And I've been trying to do a story on emergency preparedness targeting people with disabilities and how are they accommodated and what happens and are any provisions in our county-wide effort to prepare for a disaster or for an emergency. But I have been having trouble getting through to anybody to call me back to respond. I know there is a county worker who has this position, but I have not heard from this person, and I'm wondering what's going on.
Give me a call and I will work on it.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for Doctor?
I just have,
Jude?
you went to the Senior Citizen Center. So is there a way that you can talk to these folks about allocating a little more funds to Grambling Township, Grambling City?
Well, I do have on my radar, now that I've been to all three senior citizen centers within District 4, within my area, now I feel better prepared to go back to the county person and talk to her about allocation of funding. My understanding is that the funding is allocated based on usage. And so keeping track of how many people are coming in and utilizing all of the services is basically the formula that's being used. And so I still need to do a little more homework on it. I'm a researchaholic and a data junkie, as you can probably tell with some of the data I share with you today. But I need to do get some more information before and I can get back to you on that.
Yeah, Mr. Lehman and myself met with Dr. Brown, and we went through a number of areas that we had concerns, with us collecting close to 1.2 million, 1.4 million in millage for senior millage and getting back a little less than 200,000.
6,000.
Yeah, and so we related that to Dr. Beverly.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. Same with the county parks in that we collect, 1.4 million and get nothing for that millage.
Right.
So Doctor, has only been on the job there for a couple months, but I've got to say that I've been very pleased with Dr. Beverly's. I mean, anything that we've mentioned to her, she's followed up on everything from our 911. We didn't really receive any communication back. We brought this to Dr. Beverly's attention. Within 2 days, we had a response from Prosecutor Layton's office. So Dr. Beverly's already been on the job only a couple months, and
I'm going to do
getting
my
action.
best. Well,
So,
thank you.
I have one question.
anybody else have anything?
I have a question.
You're welcome to attend anytime, too. Yes, Sarah?
Not related to your current position, but your previous position at the Department of Education. I work at Grambling Schools and Personnel. What area did you work in?
I was the manager of early middle colleges for the state. So I approved all the early middle colleges in the state, traveled all across the state and did professional development for early middle colleges, approved, denied, did technical assistance, worked with Cherry Wagonlander on that quite a bit. And before that, I worked in the state school reform office. So I worked with the lowest performing schools in the state to try to help them develop plans to do better. So I still have a heart for education. I really hope that we can get more college degrees in our area, because I look at places like Ann Arbor and, they have it going on.
Right.
And a lot of it has to do, there's a correlation between degrees and movement and progress within a community. So that's still close to my heart.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Anything else?
Doctor.
Okay, thank you.
We're going to have to find out when National Township Month is.
And make a presentation to them, right? Yes.
We'll come to the county board meeting.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on now to approval of our consent agenda, if someone would care to make that motion.
I'll make the motion, Mr. Supervisor.
Mr. White had his hand up, but
Okay.
if you want to second it,
I'll second
Robertson, that'd be great.
Trustee White's motion.
Okay,
All righty. Trustee Fike.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
Trustee Raritan.
Yes.
Treasurer Kilmer.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett.
yes.
7-0, motion passes.
Okay, under new business, a motion to approve 2 security cameras, parts and labor in the amount of $14,142.94 to Teoma Systems to monitor the 2 new ballot boxes required by state law. Who's prepared to speak on that?
I can speak to it if you would. The information is in your packet, but this is obviously required as a result of the passage of Proposal 2 last November. The $14,142.94 is for the security cameras and parts and labor. We're getting 2 new ballot boxes, and we're going to be putting them the plan is to put them at the McFarland Library and at the fire station on Baldwin Road, so that they be properly distributed. We have one here, of course, and then one in basically in the middle of the township, and then also at the southern end as well. The monies, we will be reimbursed by the state of Michigan for all of our expenditures for this, but we have to approve the expenditure now, because we have to move with all deliberate speed in getting these cameras secured and getting the boxes and the cameras in place.
Mr. Lehman,
Just an update to the dollar amount. We can change that to $10,762.94. That was an update that I received from the Director of Information Services, Nathan Loosevelt, just an hour ago. So he's been working with them, and I'm not sure, quite frankly, what the changes were that resulted in the decrease of a considerable amount of money, but I'm happy to report whenever there's a decrease in a considerable amount of an expense. Even though it is reimbursable, we're still.
right, very good.
All right, well,
Thank you, had your hand up.
Just for clarification. So we already have the ballot boxes.
They arrived.
they've arrived.
Is that part of this 10?
Well, no, this is for we'll be reimbursed for those as well.
right.
But this is for the cameras and the labor, parts and, as I say, the parts and labor, so.
And this camera can only be used for this purpose.
Yeah, I mean, they're twinned with the boxes. They're going to be positioned, if you will, in proximity to the boxes so that the boxes can be viewed at all times.
And this was required by a vote of the people.
Is required by the Proposal 2,
Yeah.
the passage of the constitutional amendment that requires this.
Thank you.
So that all 3 ballot boxes will have.
That is correct.
Yeah, we're ahead of the game, because at the MTA meeting this week, some people haven't even ordered the boxes yet, so I know we have ours sitting in the DPW garage right now.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Questions, or motion? Okay, motion by Dr. Reardon.
Motion by Raritan, supported
by
by
Ms.
Fike. Very good. Trustee White.
Yes.
Trustee Raritan.
Yes.
Trustee Fike.
Yes.
Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Treasurer Kilmer.
Yes.
Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
7-0, motion passes.
Thank you. Future agenda items, we have the calendar of items that we wanted to cover. I'm not sure, I haven't looked at it for the next meeting yet, but anybody know? Well,
Listen, if
everybody
you're
has that
talking,
schedule,
I
so
can't hear you.
that's okay. Everybody has the schedule, they can look and see what it is, so. Unless somebody has something pressing that they want to make sure gets covered, but we're going to have a few issues we've got to cover the next one. With that, I'm not sure we need to go through all the board reports, because I'm not sure we've,
Anything to report?
however, I would like to, if you don't mind, just make a few comments on a few things that have transpired since the last board meeting. Number one, we had a very successful beautification committee meeting. We invited the public to attend. That was held last Tuesday evening. And we ended up with, I don't know, what do you think, Melissa, 20, 25 individuals from around the township that represented either businesses or neighborhoods, what have you, different groups. We selected 5 intersections that we're going to attempt to undertake beautification efforts, Hill Road and I-475. In fact, Alga Credit Union has stepped forward and said they want to adopt that and are willing to fund it. Hill Road and Fenton Road. I've been in communication with the Ottawa Hills Neighborhood Association, and they're sending out an email to their residents to see if they would be able to sponsor that. Holly Road and I-75. Dort Federal, I've spoken to them, and they want to sponsor it, as well as Faith Lutheran Church wants to be involved there. Dort Highway and Grand Blanc Road, Food Castle wants to sponsor that, as well as Rock Bottom, their landscape supply company. Baldwin Road and Saginaw Street, I've had some discussion with Gary from Blessing, Heating Cooling, and also talking to another entity down there, as well as Dow Webb residents may want to get involved in helping with that, as well as one of the other subdivisions in that area. So we're making progress. It looks like the planters are in that we received grant money for. We received a grant of nearly $10,000 for planters to go along Saginaw Street from Maple Road to Saginaw Street, about 12 or 14 of them. We also bought a tank that can go on the back of a truck for watering those. The planters are self-watering, so we don't have to water those except for maybe every few weeks, fill them back up. So the beautification effort is moving forward strongly, and anybody on the board that could help us, it'd be nice if we could put like a board member with each of the intersections, so that, or maybe double up on one of them, so you could help with volunteers and what have you. Real briefly, at a KWA meeting, Carrigandy Water Authority meeting this past week, and one of the things that everybody may not be aware, but the water line that supplied water to the city of Flint and portions of Genesee County that comes from Great Lakes Water Authority, this past year, the 120-inch line that supplies that water actually broke. Had it not been for the Carrigandy Water Authority's line that comes over from Port Huron, a good portion of Genesee County and Flint would have been without any water for 60 days or more. It took them 60 days to fix that line in the city of Flint, and during that time frame, they were using the KWA water, but really didn't get a whole lot of notice in the media, but just realized that avoided a potential disaster of enormous proportions. The 911 consortium, we did receive word that our portion of the surcharge, so on everybody's cell phone bill throughout the state, you get a 911 surcharge. It's $1.87 per month per cell phone. Here in Grand Blanc Township, if we were to, our contribution to the 911 consortium anyways is close to $900,000, I believe, with that $1.87. So $900,000 a year. And so we're looking at all our options for where we're going with the 911 service, which that certainly opened some doors, some possibilities. I was elected back onto the executive committee this past meeting, despite my no votes on the exclusive agreements. Two things that I attended at the MTA. One of the things that we should probably have a discussion at some point is firefighting with the new electric vehicles. I was blown away by what it is going to take to fight fires with electric vehicles. I would guess that it will cause fire department staff to double in size. You're talking, I'll give you just one example of the discussion, but the typical car fire, you're looking at a gas engine, takes about 2 people on a rig, 30 minutes. Electric vehicle, you're looking at probably 3 rigs and maybe 2 to 4 hours, and it's just letting it burn. then you have to figure out how to fix the asphalt underneath where the car burned because it melts it so badly. You don't want to have that in a parking structure because it will, destroy the parking structure as well. One of the things that I want us to think about is also this time of year we get flooded with phone calls with regard to road repairs. We try to tell people that it's the road commission that has that responsibility. But the subdivision streets, Grand Blanc Township was one of the first areas to have some of the largest subdivision in this county. And those roads are approaching probably 50 years old or longer. They were only designed for 15 years. I'd like us to consider putting together a road committee made up of some individuals from around the township to discuss what some of the options are as far as helping people to get those things paved and and get the community involved in that discussion. So I'll talk a little bit more about that at an upcoming meeting, but I just wanted to throw that out there. With that, Joel, you were at the MTA conference. I know you enjoyed it. Anything in particular that you want to mention?
I went to six different sessions. And it ran the gamut from funding, investments, which was very interesting. I didn't know a lot about all that. Just
Very good conference. Though.
very good, everything that I saw. Also, there's a big move afoot for broadband. There's many sections of our state that don't have internet coverage, and there's a big effort by the federal government to spend money through the Infrastructure Act to open up areas that don't have broadband. I tried to log in Grand Blanc Township. I bet we're pretty good at broadband.
We are, but the problem is there's the phone companies are the ones that supply, that, and it's not 100% accurate. So I've had some discussion actually while we were up there by text with a few of our folks, and maybe we have some kind of survey we put out on social media because and ask people, about that. There's an area south of Baldwin Road. I know of one particular area that doesn't have broadband, but it's just a few homes. But also, Miss Hugo was telling me that actually the school district pays about $4,000 a year for students to have a hotspot that don't have broadband. So maybe we can partner with the school to figure out, where those areas are that maybe they're underserved.
They're calling it Internet for All. They want everybody to have internet in this country. And there are billions of dollars that are going to be spent.
Also,
that end.
the recycling too, there's a lot of money coming out, so there's some things we might be able to take advantage of there that we'll have to, but lots of great stuff. So with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion, or
Okay.
I'll second Hugo,
Mr.
trustee
Hugo's
Hugo's
motion?
motion.
Okay.
Okay,
All those in
Hugo,
favor say aye.
motion.
Aye.
Okay,
Any opposed?
Robertson, second, and we are adjourned at 6:04 PM.